And some beautiful little meandering ones down here. Those are fun. So if you want to make yours more vertical, you can. I don't know if I can't get all that verticality in this shot here, I think. But let's see. We could add a few little rocks and maybe some of that splashy stuff right around there. And we have all this greenery climbing up the sides and some forest action in the back. Well, that did come out pretty vertical, didn't it? Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll just do it like this. Mine's way too vertical. Okay, well, we'll see. Now I'm gonna use I have a really dark color here. It's technically not black, but I'll just call it black. Okay, let's see what we got here. Some of these values on the back. And I'm going to give mine a little bit less wet. I mean, I don't know if it matters so much on the value studies if we use dry brush or not, but I got dark on me. We do have a couple of dark tree things on the side there. Might as well get warmed up with the dry brush. Those are pretty dark. I'm gonna lighten those up a little bit with my rag. There. Okay.
So
now we have this. Yes.
Why did you make the decision to dry brush like first thing? What is it about that?
Because there's just so many soft edges.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. You could do it in different techniques, though. You don't have, I mean, it works. Dry brushing really works for this. So I'm just going to put in my dark rocks here. They're pretty dark. That's one of the darkest in the piece. And it's not necessary to get all these little, I mean, this thing's only like this big, so I'm not going to try to get in there and get every little streak right. Not in a value study. I'm more interested in values, so I really want this to pop away from the background. So I'm going to give a nice darks in there. That reads really dark on the camera. And I've got this little dark spot in here that I just kind of lay in like that. We've got a little dark spot here. Another one flowing this way. And if you notice that dry brushing just instantly gives you those soft edges. So isn't that weird? We're not really painting the waterfall. We're really painting the rocks behind the waterfall. And what's left over is the waterfall. It's negative painting. A good dark in there. These rocks up in here are pretty light. Got a neat little light hitting that, so I want to make a little notice of that. All this, that's the dark. And then we have a pretty good, these values down here are not, they're not as dark as like some of these rocks in here, but they're pretty dark. They do reflect some sky. So we might get a little bit of blue reflections on here. I'll go with more of the dry brushing around the edges around there, just for fun. And then hopefully this is tacked up enough, yeah. And I want to glaze a very light shadow over my waterfall. Just keep in mind where the light's hitting. You know, what you might want to do if you can't just do it as you paint, then what you can do is just circle around where the light would be hitting on the tops, where you get the splash. That'll pick up some light. Mostly in here, you get a lot of light. And maybe over here. So even though these whites over here in the shade look white, they're not quite as white as the ones in the light. So let's try that. I think I could go a little bit lighter than that. It's better to go lighter and then have to come back and hit it again. I think almost all of this goes into shadow. Get a little bit of light down here. And our green moss gets it gets almost white too. It gets really bleached out in those lights. So I'm going to just give it a little bit of shadow. And then it all goes into shadow over here. It's about the same value as these rocks over here. That's why it just kind of blends right in. And then down here it is darker on the edges. So now, just like most watercolors, we'll give our darkest darks at the end. And let's just come in. I'm seeing some good darks in here. Try to get my brush a little bit finer point there. Okay. Some darks coming up the side here. It's pretty dark in there. I'm gonna go back and hit these ones a little harder on the top. All right. And I think, believe it or not, the water could even go a little darker in shadow. And get a little bit more. Oh. Slow down, Rob. Get a little dark there. Okay. And that's how I started off. From there, I just work with my edges. That's a small one. Let's go on to a color rough. And I'll do same lines as last time. I have this other second waterfall over here. So that's what gives you that shape, these two waterfalls. Just looking for those positive and negative shapes. So here I come back over, I got the positive of the waterfall, and then the background here is sort of sweeping negative shape there, and some rocks down below it. Interesting little rock shapes. Couple of branches. Okay. This shape. So right in here, it gets, fairly dark. I think I could have made this a little bit wider. We got a couple of those ones coming in that way. And a rock face there if you like. Some little forest shapes in the background. Just noting those. And if you wanted to include more of the foreground in there, I think I included more foreground in there on this one. I could just lengthen out the bottom and add. I'm not so concerned about the bottom, but we'll see if we want a little white water down there. something like that. That one got really long. Okay. So, where to start? I'm seeing lots of lavender and like magenta in the rocks. So go this way. Musical chairs with my palettes. You know how it is. All right. Gets way darker. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, that gets pretty dark in there. Try brushing that with magenta and ultramarine. That gets really dark in there. And down here too. Just gonna hit those like that first. It's obviously a little grayer than that. Pretty easy to gray those down. If you just add a little bit of yellow, it'll gray that down. Wow. And the dark up here. See? Mix myself up a dark out of magenta and ultramarine. Definitely not worried about accuracy or anything like that. I'm really thinking about color. This gets quite a bit lighter in here. Maybe a little darker than that. There we go. And notice the water as it gets down here, it gets quite a bit more orange in it. Kind of browner. See yellow in it, there's some light hitting it. There we go. A little more orange in that. Down in this area. I have to keep one hand on the paper or this paper just keeps moving all over. All right. Anywhere else you might see a little bit of brown. And green. Lots of green in here. Prussian blue, cad yellow, give you a nice green. pull that over on this side. And my greens back here in the forest, I want bluer and a little bit grayer because they're further away. Back here. And maybe a little dry brushing for soft edges. Possibly some dark trunks too. That's a little bit dark. I don't want these dark trunks to be as dark as any of these darks in the rocks here. And I'm just seeing all kinds of lavender in the rocks. And then on the waterfalls themselves, I'm going to just hit the parts that are in shadow, leaving the parts that are in light. I think the shadow's bluer than what I just made it. Let's see what I got here. I'm gonna get this light hitting it there, and it comes downward. We have these big boulders over here on the side. They're pretty dark too. Nice little dark over there too. All right, well, I couldn't get those little waterfalls in there, but oh well. Little flicks of shadows of rocks and twigs and things in here. We have little boulder silhouettes up against the, and they're not as dark as your darkest, but they do silhouette up against these waterfalls here. So I would put little silhouettes, rocky silhouettes here. Something like that. And that'll be my little coloration. And that gets us kind of going in the right direction. Okay. Value steady, as you can see, I mean, a lot of times my color studies and value studies can be almost abstract. You know, if you look at it in a different way, you wouldn't even know what it is. Complete abstraction. But as you can see, it does have little areas of interest. I mean, it will still, even as abstraction, it will still pull you in and beg you to look at it, you know, which is all the abstract expressionists were trying to say. It's really not the realism necessarily that gives you the art. Okay, I think I'll work vertical. I hope I don't hate doing this. I could work horizontal and get a lot. I'm gonna go vertical. There's my choice. Okay. It's over here. Got there. Zoom out. And we'll be ready in a second here. Whoops. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to keep moving this around. Otherwise, you're gonna see all this stuff over here. That'll work. And I can pan this out a little bit more. So you're seeing more, and I'll draw a little bit darker. Maybe I'll just, in the video, try to zoom in occasionally on interest areas. And here we go. Okay. Start just with my little rocks here. And then come into about there. I want that to move over here a little bit more, because I want to get a little bit more out of this side. Here we go. There's our rocks on the top. Yeah. And just kind of come down the side there. And then I have these little rocks down below and in the river. So I'm going to get some river in there. I'm going to go back up to the top here and give my little bushes. And they come off to about here. Like a green bush there, and a big old rock next to it, full of, yeah, little highlights and things on it. We have these little chiseled rocks in here, which are really neat. I like how this one really picks up that, see that cast shadow on it, like that. And then it steps down. We get this dark spot in there. Get kind of a arrow shape in there. And so on. I need a little round rock in there. That's fun. I could have made him bigger, huh? I think he's actually more about there, isn't he? I guess it really doesn't matter. It's nature, could have been anywhere. That's one thing I like about doing areas like this. You don't have to get it exactly right. So that light hits here, boom, and then it comes all the way down here and hits that rock down below. Okay. Right. And then we have this other big dark rock, which kind of comes over to there. Oops, see, I hate that. Erasers will do that. They'll just smear your lead into your piece and then look. Ugh. I gotta rip the paper trying to get it out. I hate that. Whoa. Gotta use a gum eraser. I know better. I tell you guys all the time. And I do it myself. Okay, so I'm basically just framing out where I want my rock. And there it is. And then we get some plants here and some mossy plant things here. And we have these little rock silhouettes I was talking about earlier. It just kind of silhouette themselves up against the waterfall at the base of the waterfall. Those are kind of neat. Then we have all the green stuff, green patches. And we have a branch in there. That's neat. I love it when all the branches go in different directions and they head down the waterfall and up the waterfall. So we get some on the side here going like that. See how it looks like an arrow? They just point you in all kinds of different directions. It's great. Here's one kind of trying to go down the waterfall but didn't make it. Little rock shapes in there. We've got some foam doing its thing around there. And I'll just let it go off the page. We'll just meander that off the page there. But I might make a little circle right here about where I want my light to be. Right around that area. Oh, I'm sorry. We get that little spotlight in there. Light. Okay. Now let's go back up. Let's find those two main waterfalls that come off the top here. So we've got one that kind of goes around the side and it goes around this way. We got the other one that kind of goes down that way. And I'm not going to put every little divot in it right now. I just want to know where it is. Okay, so we got that shape of the top. And I might have made that a little large, but we'll see. And we've got this sort of shape in here. And this one almost goes straight down. This one kind of comes back this way. So we get that sort of spear shape in there. Water there, and then rock over here. So here's my other water. Here's this waterfall. I'm just drawing that small little shape around there. And then it gets white again. And then we have this big one that just sort of climbs up the waterfall like that. And it just sort of cascades down in this sort of direction. Now I'm not going to put every little one in there. I'll make up a lot of this with, because you could really get carried away drawing every little thing in there. And I think you should do a lot with the brush. We have a couple little negative shapes in here. In there. I mean, it's already a lot of shapes. And we have this rock over here. It's got a small, little dinky waterfall. Oh, it goes straight down. And then over this way and then over that way. And there's another one, kind of lost and found. This big old rock. And there is a light spot on there, right there. I'll make a note of that. Light hitting this too, all kinds of light hitting this. I just mentioned a little bit more, couple of little rocky things in the water. There's branchy things in there too. And then we have our forest. You can see a little bit of sky there, a little bit of sky through here. And then whatever you want to do back there is fine. Maybe a little moss over there. So if you notice, I don't really draw all the little details. What I'm interested in is the basic generalities, and that allows me to come in and draw with the brush as well. So, and we do have a little small one here, really small. Comes out, drops straight down, and if you notice, you get little splashes on rocks, on the top of rocks here. So you might want to just make a couple of notes of those because they get pretty bright on the top. And here and there, you can do that around. You get a splash around here, splash around there. Definitely one right there. And that's enough drawing. Boy, this thing can get really complicated. I think we should do our background first. Let's just take care of that forest back there. So we have some bluish greens back there. They're pretty gray. So I would add a little bit of red to your green. Maybe Prussian blue and cad yellow, and then a little cad red in there. Never hurt. Let's see, come up with a color kind of like that. You know, it wouldn't be a bad idea to dry brush a lot of that in too. I've got this, there we go, all this bushy stuff here. And right up against my rocks. Using the side of my brush, see, getting that dry brush. I see little bits of sky coming through there too, so you might want to leave yourself some nice little white areas. Over here, I notice it gets pretty dark along the side here. It gets lighter in here. A little lighter in here. Just playing with some of these edges and things. Pull those right behind our rocks. And as you can see, the lines just go, all my lines are pretty much gone. And I drew them pretty dark. We can hit a couple of little, I like to do them when they're wet. The branches, what do you call this, the trunks. They're a little bit warmer, a little bit darker. And I could come and pull one in here right when it's wet, see like that? And it just gets kind of lost in there. I love that. That's my favorite. A few, maybe a couple of crossing each other, things like that. Maybe one coming right into the light. It doesn't matter if you don't make it just like that. But see, I'm getting a little bit equally spaced here, right? So, one of my favorite things to do, you gotta do it pretty quick. Just take a little water on a rag, let's say, and just lose areas like that. Just lose it. Like that. Lost and found. Feels like foliage coming in front of them. I mean, if it's too lost, you can always come back and hit it again. You know me and my diagonals, right? I love them. And I know I made all my trunks the same color. So occasionally I'll come in with something a little bit different, maybe a little bit browner, a little bit cooler color in there. Maybe just lose a few. We do have some darker values up in here too. We can dry brush a few of those in there. I'm not using really saturated colors because I want it to recede. I'll come back later and maybe glaze a little blue sky in there, but not too much. And it does get pretty dark in there. Maybe a little bit bluer. Come right in here with just something a little bit bluer. That's pretty dark. On the other hand, if you make it really dark, see, I lighten it up against the dark rocks, okay? Now I'm darkening it up against this light bush. Yeah, I do that stuff and I don't even think to tell you, I'm sorry. Because that's really important. It's to set this off. So I'll keep it really nice and dark up against that bush. And a little bit lighter, so this will set mostly the waterfall off. You know, I probably should have drawn some of the small waterfalls on here. Because they are really important. So let's just take a little time. And they just kind of go like steps. So they just step themselves down. And over here, they're kind of doing the same thing. The cool thing about these is after a while, you can kind of just make it up what you want it to do. But I would say really steady at first. So there's some interesting little directions. Okay, and now I'm gonna come back into here and start, I want this to be pretty dry. Although you don't get as many fuzzy edges with these smaller ones as you do with the bigger ones. So
What color are you using, Rob?
I use ultramarine, magenta, and I threw a little bit of red in there. And then that got a little red on me, so I threw a little bit of yellow. So again, it's basically red, yellow, and blue. But I started off with magenta, ultramarine, because those are pretty dark. And then I went into I actually used lemon yellow in there, yeah. And that got a little green, so if it gets too green, I'm gonna go back to my ultramarine. That's the color. I think that's the color right there. Yeah. And I am noticing now let me get up to this waterfall here. Yeah. Every one of these little ledges has the top side of the ledge catches a little reflected light from the sky and gets a little bit bluish. Can you see there's little steps. There's little stepping stones all the way, and the top of each one of these little stepping stones catches a little bit of sky color in it. So I'm just gonna hit this part dark, leaving a little bit light there, and I'll come back and hit that a little with some more ultramarine blue, I think. Like that. Really doing lots of dry brushing here. And this is a great chance for you to experiment with the dry brushing, get used to, because if you get it too dry, it's hard to move, and if you get it too wet, it gets too hard edged. So you're going to need to find that little balance for yourself. Yeah. So I'm just trying to make a big deal about all these little steps. And then I'll take something a little bit bluer. And just glaze over the tops. So it still feels like dark rock, but it's catching a bit of highlight from the sky. I may have to glaze those down again. And constantly spreading the tip. And see, that's how I get the edge. See, like that. It's just a touch like that with the dry brush. That's what gives you that fuzzy edge. So, you know, my little streams, these little white little streaks are a little big and they're a little clumsy. I can come back and see, I can just paint into them and give them a little bit of adjustment. Everything's always, you know, like I always paint, very generalized in the beginning and then go for the refinement. Paint some shadows in the water and everything. Now in here, I'm just going to give this a fuzzy edge too, like that. And the outside of this. So I'm really painting the rock. And then the rock gets a lot darker on the inside here. I go with a very similar color to what we used up in there, but it gets pretty dark in here. Really, any dark will work. I would go for your blues and magentas, and there's some magenta. I can throw that in there. That's nice. I like that. Maybe even that ultramarine blue. We've got this one over here. Same colors. Same in here. That's all we're doing. We're just negative painting the watercolor, I mean the waterfall. See, a lot of that dry brushing looks like some of the water, little drops of water in it. So you might not want to, like I painted this one pretty solid. And it's pretty deep, so. But I might not paint them all that solid, especially this one's really shallow. See, it gets a little bit more splash on it. So does this one. Some ultramarine. I'm gonna try this with straight ultramarine and see what happens. That's bright. Pretty though. Maybe throw a little bit of magenta in there. I'm even seeing little bits of green in there. Here too. A little bit darker. It has some of these little inner shapes. You know, I let my brush. I actually think about the flow of the water as I'm putting down the stroke. So like that's how I get these running strokes like that, because I'm thinking about the flow of the water, and I let that kind of show me the direction of the stroke. So these are going this way. Up here. We've got this big area over here. It's very much in this sort of lavender family, kind of maybe a little bluer than that. I'm just going to void out the area that has my little cast. And there's the light hitting it. And then there's the, it looks like everything else in there goes into shadow. Keeping this edge really broken because it's bushy. all that. I'm just gonna lose that into one value. And you know me, occasionally I'll just throw a little bit of something warm in there, you know, I can't help myself. I like the color vibrating around. You know, a little red in there maybe. Just to keep things interesting. Okay. Don't worry if it feels really broken in the beginning. Remember, we're dry brushing. So when we glaze in our shadows and things like that, it'll start bringing things together. So let's get started on some of this bottom half stuff. I think maybe I'll start on with the bushes. So blue and yellow, any blue and yellow, but I'm using what is it? Lemon yellow and Prussian blue. Gosh, that was hard to get out of my mouth. Sorry. How come these words just aren't coming to my brain right now? Okay. I could see them being a little bit more yellow than that. And I see little reds in there occasionally. Little orangey things. Maybe definitely some yellows and oranges. Little shots of red once in a while. This log over here has got a lot of red in it because it's good. That's enough of that. Bring some over to the other side. We definitely have some moss kind of crawling up this rock here, and it gets really yellow in the light. So I'll just paint the shadows of it right now because I have that on my brush. And look, it just follows. Look at this. There's a whole bunch right there, which might catch a little light. You know, I do what's on my brush. So if I have green on my brush, I'll find a place to put it. It probably comes from my craziness. I don't know about crazy, but have you heard that term, the Irish miser? Right here. It's the only reason I can keep painting. Otherwise, I have to, get a job. Okay, so I'm painting the shadow side of this bush right here. Bringing that up there.
We're losing the top of your painting, Rob.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. Sorry. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for telling me. So I painted the shadow side of these bushes there, and then This all goes into shadow and then comes back out into light. And then we do have some little bushes, little mosses and things working themselves up the crevices mainly of this stuff in here. And you could just dapple that stuff around any way you see fit. And this stuff gets on it too. Just nestling things. All right. Whoops. No. I worked my way down that way. I just hit a couple more down here. Sorry. I got to keep moving this one. And when I work vertically, I got to keep moving it. This is what I was going for. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I'll hold it up closer. The little feeling of that sky is hitting the top of this, of these little things. And I may come back and play with them, skinning them up a little bit later, but that was the idea. All right. Now, interestingly enough, on this water here, I am seeing blue sky in the water because it does reflect some blue sky in it. Its color of its own is, probably in the brown area, kind of a tea color possibly. It might be very clear, but it's so thin. It might be only 2 inches until you hit the sand below it, and the sand and dirt below it might be covered with dead stuff, brown dirt, a deep color sand, so you might get this kind of brownish color in there. I am seeing a lot of brown, but I am seeing some blue on there, some blue reflected light. So I think I'll start off in a very horizontal manner, hitting some of that sky color on there first. And then we'll hit the brown color, trying to leave white spots too. So if you have a hard time just dodging it with your brush, then go ahead and just, draw yourself out. Okay, I've got a little white spot here, a little white spot there, etc. Little trickly areas. Okay. I'm actually going to come back. I'm going to throw in some of this first. I'm going to go over it. And it goes right into the white stuff. And you pick up a little bit more down here. Here's the side of your brush. And over here, it looks like we get a little bit of light beginning. We're also getting a lot of golden reflections off some of this light. So that's interesting. Wow. And maybe a little bit more in here. And we have some of those golden reflections over here too, in the water. I mean, right down in here. And it looks like they're reflecting this stuff. So I'm going to take some yellow, red, kind of orangey. I hate to say this again, but it's I'm using cad yellow and cad red and making myself an orange. And then here's the test. By the way, this is that my Mary color. There's the cad yellow. Maiden voyage. Okay. And then if it gets too orange, add a little touch of blue, ultramarine blue to it. Maybe we can pick up some of those little golden highlights on there. I'll see how that dries. I'm seeing little touches of it here and there. A little bit over here. And then of course, if it's on your brush, oh, I'm seeing a little ledge in there, catching a little bit of yellow. Just a little yellow in there. So that works. I'm seeing some yellow in this rock here. I'm just gonna hit a little bit in it. I'm gonna hit a little bit around here too. I know it's more green, but I'm gonna hit a little bit more in there. I got all that dark to do. I didn't hit that. But what I wanted to do was get into this this water down here. Okay. There's certainly more too. Gosh, I could probably hit some more over here. Ooh, it never ends. Okay. And let's make that brown color of the water. I'm seeing a lot of burnt umber, burnt sienna. Again, how do I make burnt umber, burnt sienna? Any yellow, I'll use the cad yellow, cad red, and either blue will work. If I use this blue, that's the Prussian. So now I've got a green, so I want a little bit more red in it. Yeah, it's just red, yellow, and blue. I'm thinking it could go a little darker than that, but I like this color. Ooh, that's nice. Gotta go with it. It's a little redder than what I'm seeing, but hey, you know, when you're feeling it, you gotta go with it. Now, what I'm gonna try to do here is not hit all the blue. Ooh, that's hard not to do. Little areas of blue reflected light coming through this. And I'm really glad I went with this color too, because I forgot about the blue behind it that I'm covering is mixing with this color, right? So it'll gray this color out a little bit more. So I went a little bit strong, a little more orange with my color. And you just get those. Little reflected blue, little reflected lights in there. And I'm having my stroke go down. We got a little bit of a waterfall there. I was thinking of that. Again, I'm using the stroke goes with the with the direction of the waterfall. Now back here, you don't really get a lot of direction until it kind of swoops down this little waterfall. It's very horizontal. Okay, a couple more in here. All right. Got some dark rocks. Very dark rocks. The shadows underneath the rocks are really dark. Smack those. Sort of a kind of a branchy thing over there. We got a rock over here. Smacking some darks here. Now, on the shoreline, see the little darks at the base of everything? You didn't need a couple of those little, just tucking things down in there. See them? At the very bottom, see them? See what that does? Where it lays the land down. Don't forget that one. That's a big tip. Tip of the day. Okay. And I did forget about these rocks over here, so I want to hit a little bit of dark in those. Take a left one of them out. Dry brush. And then it hits the water and goes in. There's a little bit of that light hitting there, so it's getting a bit more of that golden color in there. This is way too fun, you guys. And it looks really broken right now. See, I told you it was going to look kind of broken. Oh boy, I can't wait to show you how to bring it together. Harmonizing glaze, that's what I call it. You've heard me say it before, and I will say it again. I call it the harmonizing glaze. I don't know where I heard that before. I'd like to say I made it up, but I know I didn't. In other words, a glaze that starts bringing things together, which is what glazes do. So, I mean, why don't I just call it a glaze? All right. Let's put some shadows over our water. Painters, are you ready? Like I always tell people, you could take up you could take up race car driving or something for thrills, or base jumping, or you could try watercolor. Now I'm going to go over this with blue, like sky, like straight ultramarine blue. Like that. Because I don't want photorealism. I want a painting. And I want my shadows blue. Looks like the top of this one catches a little bit of light there, and then it goes into shadow. I'm just picking up some paint from here. Should I dry brush that a little bit more? And I'm going to move it over to here. This part goes into a very light shadow over here. Yeah, all this is in shadow. We get a little bit of light in here. And every place, even in the shadows where it catches, where you see a little bit of a splash, take your rag and watch this. Just see, just give it a little bit of a, like that, and then we can come back and play with it a little bit. Just like on the top of this. It doesn't get white, but it gets very light on the tops because it's reflecting the sky. That's catching lots of light right there.
Sorry, Rob, what blue are you using?
Oh, ultramarine blue.
Wow, that's a very light blue for ultramarine. Okay.
Yeah, I'm using it very thin. And I'll go over all this. Knock those back. These back. And just on the tops, tap a little light. It's just if it gets a little dark on you, just take your rag and see, just take a little off. Either way. There's also a neat thing. If you want to start playing with your edges a little bit more, let's see. Maybe I want this to come down a little bit straighter, 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 like that. Step it down, and there's some dark spots in there, so come back in, start hitting some little spots. So there's all this room for playing with the outside edges even now. It's not like we had it all worked out in the beginning. Anywhere where a rock is wet, as it faces upward, let's say like these rocks over here, and they're wet, as they face upward, you know, they might catch a lot of that blue. So it hit some blue in there. Try some a little Prussian blue in here and see what happens. Just playing with my edges here a little bit. Oh, that's a little saturated. So I'm going back to magenta and ultramarine blue. And there's little darks within the water, but I would work up to them slowly. I think I'm going a little bit aggressive. I'm going to calm down here and go a little bit slower. And again, I'm putting those down in the direction of the flow of the water. That's a little wet. Yeah, the little half tones in the water are really not really very dark. Okay, and I have some yellowy greens up here on the top of my highlights. I want more yellow. Using a lemon yellow. Well, with a lip, I'm just dipping into the green I already had. Let's try that. And on this side, we might get a lot of yellow. I'm just going to pull it in there. I get some really good darks over here too. That was just like a violet. I use a lot of violets, so you know, ultramarine and magenta will give you a good violet. We have these little silhouettes of rocks here. Maybe I'll go with a little bit different color than that. Because sometimes when I use Prussian blue and CAD red, I'll get it can give you kind of a black, but when you thin it out, it can be a really interesting violet. It's not as pure of a violet. Sometimes I don't want that really pure violet. The light over my little highlight there. Let's go back down into this water at the base. I'm making myself up a reddish brown. So you red, yellow, and blue, and then add more red to it. CAD red, CAD yellow, ultramarine blue, and add more red to it. Now I'm just gonna kind of close up some of these white spots in here. You know, I think more blue in it. Don't want to kill all my little blue spots, though. I like the little dinky reflected lights are really wonderful. Let's do it a little bit red. You're going into the burnt umbers, which are much cooler colors by adding just a little bit of blue to that red, yellow, and blue. This is why I don't buy umbers and siennas. I just make them. And down here in the water, it kind of goes downhill and then it splashes and hits another one. So as I pull those colors down into it, I'll pull a few strokes downhill into that. See? Maybe this one goes this way. There's blue in there too. I'll leave some of these little white spots in here. I'm going to glaze some blue into those. And then as it kind of comes around, it kind of meanders, you know. See how it just kind of I don't know what to call that except wow. Sorry. It's words don't do it justice, right? So a little bit more of that blue over here. Oops, that's a little dark. Here we go. It's fun. A little bit drier brush. And usually, you're pretty close to the end of the painting when you're just going around hitting some darks, edges. I mean, I've got some darks in here, little crevices. A lot of blue in that, wow. Right, and some of these little cracks and I'm throwing a little bit of shadow underneath my little grassy areas. A little bit of shadow underneath there. I can hear too. So it gets a little darker up in there. That'll happen just because not a lot of light gets up and under there. And I don't like how this just comes right off the page, so I'll throw a little something over there, just a little something to keep us from going on the page. A little eye stopper is what it is. Just really blasted a couple of nice little darks in there, in the deep crevices. Just and I have dark on my brush. Come back and hit any place else I see some dark, or I think needs a little help. Usually under stuff, under rocks, under branches, like in here. You know, deep down in there, under stuff, at the base of things. It's almost always where they are. If I have a little, let's say I have a little branch there, give it a nice little dark. Maybe something light on top. Oh, whoops. Little shadows. Probably wouldn't be anything in light over here, so I'm just gonna, I don't mind a little bit of the weight coming over here, but I want to give it the feeling of shadow, so I'll leave all that. Although we do get a neat little shadow up in here, I like that. I'll typically kind of stage my painting at the end, so we get a little bit of a closed corner there without being too ridiculous, which is hard for me. Okay. You know, I'm certainly not finished with this painting, but I would like to hit a few of those little pockets of shadow on my little rock here, my craggy rock. That's fun. Oh boy. And I guess that guy's in shadow, isn't he? And the rest is edges. Edges and edges. So you can play with those all day. Really a good idea to turn it upside down, look at it like that. You know, look at it in different directions and see what can you do with this thing? What could we do with this thing? Where does it need a little bit more shadow? I had an idea here. Oh, just keep playing with the outside edges of these. More of that's in shadow. There. Just by looking at it in a different direction, I noticed I had this pink, so I went through a little shadow over that. And that's why you do it. You'll see things you weren't aware of. Give it a nice little signature. And oh boy, I stamp. And I always forget where the top is. Get it?
There's a signature on the left. And then,
Is it that one?
yeah,
That's the right way, right?
yes.
Okay. All right. I did my homework. Okay. All right. I'm gonna put it right there. Hey, cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Came out good.
Great. Good job.
Hey. Yes. I'm getting better. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna do my signature.
Well, Henry, I was looking at some of those literary paintings and all. They have so many stamps on them. Oh my gosh! Why so many stamps?
The connoisseurs, collectors, or emperors.
Oh.
Yeah. Also, artists seal with signature and calligraphies. In late imperial times, they like to. The literary paintings are poets, so they like to write on their painting as well. Yeah, those big stamps are their collectors' seals, connoisseur seals. Yeah.
I like that.
You can put like I can put seal on your painting, you know, just and also you can also write commentary on it.
Yeah. You see, this is what I was going for, you guys. If you can see the blue in the water. So that's why I sort of underpainted it and then I went over it. I wanted those little pinky reflections on the water there. So fun. Okay. Wow. I know it's watercolor, right?
Okay, I'm gonna sign.
Yeah. Let's see what we got so far. We've got, oh wow, we've got Louise, you already sent two. Wow.
Yeah, just use the second one.
Use the second one?
Right, because I added some rocks in the water in the front.
Okay. Chickies Waterfall. Surely. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start critiquing. Or I'll just leave this up here. Why not? A lot of fun. Probably go back into some of my edges a little bit more, make them a little bit less descript, but all right. Oh, by the way, you can always come back over it with a little bit of white too. And it looks really good on the waterfall. The white looks really, I probably should have shown you that. That's okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's go to screen share. Oops. Oh boy, what did I do? I can't grab the top of my window. Darn it. This does this to me every time. I can't grab the top of my window. Hold on. I have to shut this all off. Okay. It's zoom. It always blows my window up, and then when I try to go back to it, it's at the very top of the screen. So anyway, it's a zoom issue. Okay. Now I got it way down at the bottom. Let's try it again. Okay, now so I put it way down there. Because if I put it here, it shoves it up toward the top and I can't grab the top to pull it down. Crazy. It's one of those zoom issues, and I heard that it's really irritating a lot of people that are giving classes. There it is. All right. Nice color.
Thanks.
You got the idea? You know what? I think you just need darks.
I had an inkling you were going to say that, but
Yeah, give it a nice, a nice solid glaze of shadow over the water. And that's just fine. Watercolor can be at this state. You see how it looks a little bit faint?
yes.
I'm trying to make this smaller, but I can't. Okay. So yeah, your darkest dark is right up in here. And let me get my little tools here. Yeah, the darkest dark is right there. And so we need some darks, nice and dark under here, deep in these areas. You need some pretty good dark in here, believe it or not.
Okay.
All of these in-between areas can be darker. And when you throw those darks in, just dry brush them right into the water, and you can still work with the edge of your water.
Okay.
Let's see what else.
And so the pure white, I just left it pure white. You would put a pale glaze over that or not?
No, I left mine pure white.
Okay.
Yeah. But if it happens to get too dark, you can always blast it with some white out of the tube.
Right.
A little gouache or something. So that, and then you see how a lot of your colors here are the same? A lot of these kind of gray violet in there. What I would do is make the same color and then add little variations to it. So as you put down bits of other color, you can vary that color. Like see this rock right here?
Right.
It's got a lot of variation to it. And it makes it interesting. So I just treat everything like that. I think I might add a few more reds to these greens.
Okay.
Things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, look. I might make this a little bit yellower up here on the top. Looks like you just didn't get there yet. And then glaze in some blue, maybe some blue shadow down in here a little bit more.
Okay.
Underneath there. I think that would be a little bit darker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay. All right, Shirley. Wow. Real blocky. I almost wanted to ask if you used a palette knife on it or something, because Hector will actually use a palette knife with a watercolor.
It was on mineral paper.
Oh, that's challenging. But you got some pretty fresh paint. You know, a lot of times the mineral paper will just kind of drink up the color. Whoa. Almost lost my light there. Yeah. And so it gets really faded. This is really nice. Again, if you want a little bit more separation between your water and the rock, I would just come in a little bit darker, like you did up here.
Okay.
Let me get a little bit different color in there. Yeah, like you did there. So maybe in a couple of areas, you know, like maybe in here a little bit darker.
I had it dark, but it looks so dark that I actually lightened it up a little.
Oh, really?
But I'll try dark again.
It's just for a little separation. Right now, it almost feels like ice. Remember I was talking about the ice falls?
Yes.
I might have mentioned that. And that's because they're not, the rock behind it probably isn't dark enough.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, ice will do. I mean, it's really just a watercolor thing. You just go a little darker. Like this right here is what I'm seeing up there more, is this just pretty high contrast. And that's very high contrast. Maybe not that high a contrast, but you know, maybe not this dark, but let's say maybe like this value here, some more of that, maybe or maybe this little bit darker right there. Some more of that in here and in here. Okay. And some of your greens, maybe a little. I'm not getting the feeling of light and shadow on it enough, and I'm wondering if we could hit some of this area, like right in here.
Okay, yes. I thought about that too.
With some shadow.
Yeah.
Let's see. Like.
Okay, yeah. It lightens up so much on mineral paper that
Yes.
I'll darken it.
Well, I know. I've tried it, and it'll throw you.
I love painting on it.
It is. It's wonderful. Weird stuff, though.
It is.
All right. Anyway, I love this. The abstraction of yours is something I really like. You're getting this kind of blocky thing going on, you know, like a human reacting to what they're seeing. I mean, I think that's great. So, you know, your theme is awesome. I'm just talking about mainly. It's not a color thing. It's not a. I think your shapes are fine. We'll see how you augment the shape of this water.
Yes.
But let's see what else. It's mostly value and edges.
Yes.
Yeah, value and edges. Think those two. I don't think you really need to think about color. You have a natural good way with color, so I would just trust your instincts there and think value and edges.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Robert, are you giving this class again?
Yes.
So you'll let us know.
Yeah. That starts. I guess the first day of class would be like the 21st or something.
Of August, of September.
On a Wednesday. I'm not sure what day it is.
You'll send us the information.
Yeah, like a week or two before.
We can pay you.
Maybe 2 weeks before. I'll try to do that. Okay.
The 20th
Thank you.
of September. If it's a
Yeah,
Wednesday.
September. Yeah.
Do we have a class next Wednesday, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
There's no holiday, right? Yeah. That's.
Okay, so it will be continuous, no break, right?
No, I don't usually take a break.
Okay, great.
I
Yeah.
always just continue this class.
Okay, great. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Sometimes I take a break. Like on Christmas, I'll probably take a break.
So yeah, just remind us when to pay. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know right away here then.
Rob, how is this class different than the one you're doing Monday through Creative Arts?
Well, this is just landscape. That is the basics of watercolor. So that we go over very basic ideas about watercolor. I go over color theory. We don't really do that in here too much, even though I kind of go over it. I don't have a day where we only work on color theory. You know, I usually work the color theory into, and this is all about nature and landscapes. Also, we'll do some urban landscapes in here too, but it's mostly a landscape class.
Okay, I think I've taken your other one twice, so
Yeah.
I'll just stay in this one. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Charlotte. All right, so you got a lot of contrast in there.
You hear me?
Yeah. You and your sister sound very much alike. You look very much alike. Now, are you identical twins or are you?
Yeah, we are, but we don't look alike as
Oh,
much.
you don't? Okay.
We're identical.
This started looking like a skull's head to me.
Oh, is there a skull's head in there? That looks like there could be. Oh, wow. I don't see it, but.
I don't know, I think it got a little overworked. I liked my fresh one that I did as a beginning. I mean, the value study.
Oh, yeah? Well, you know, now, if these darks get a little dark on you in here, you can always lighten them up. Now, there's another way to lighten them up. You could actually glaze white over it, like a wash of white over it and lighten it that way. Or you could just, you know, put a little water on there and use your
Yeah, just wipe it out.
yeah, wipe it out, or you can do both. You know, they look great. So
Trying to get some shape to the waterfall, but it got very overworked.
yeah, I think it's try to get those dry brush edges. They really do it. It's that when you have the hard edges, it's a little bit harder. I was going to say harder, but that's kind of dumb. So I would soften the edges I would do it with a dry brush edge like this. Looks like you're dry brushing right in here.
Yeah.
Let's see. And let's see.
That's what I kept saying.
Now what you can do is find your rocks by painting in the negative shape of the rock through here.
Yeah.
Like for instance.
I didn't want to close up the white any more than
Okay.
but the white actually was too much. That's why I put the dark inside the waterfall to close it up a bit.
Yeah.
It became an abstract painting, kind of.
Which I don't mind. I really don't. But it's got the, you know, you're at one with the beauty of nature, no question. You've got the feeling, the flow of nature, the organic. I mean, you do that all the time. So I
did, and I was on slick paper, so it was hard to dry brush. I may
I see. Yeah, that's a lot harder to dry brush on.
Yeah, I'll try it again, maybe.
Then what you can do is just glaze in your edges softly and try to soften them that way.
Yeah, that edge is real.
Let's see if I can do it on a smaller one here.
The waterfall took up the whole page. I had to cut it back in, but I don't know. It is what it is. I like the bottom and the top.
Yeah, I love the change of direction. You have this coming straight down and then you have this coming going, yeah. Things are feeling like they've flattened out, and so you really grasp the flow of the water. That's not always easy to do. You know, I think again, colors are nice. Values, you definitely nailed your darks.
I think I'll soften that middle area where that looks like a woman.
Are these the hips right here?
No, it's right on the other, where that big slice goes down. It actually looks like a dog of some type.
Oh.
I think I'll soften that. I added that at the last.
It's edges. It's mostly an edge game now. That's where you should be in a watercolor, you know, anywhere you like. And you leave it where you like. If you want to keep it more abstract, keep it more abstract. I like it abstract. So my favorite area is in here. I love this. These
I know.
tricky-
That's the best part.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
And
you.
thank you very much.
Mhm. And Katie. Okay. All right. So right away, your values and colors are awesome. I don't have any problem with that.
Thank you.
It's edges and shape. Shape. So in other words, let's see. So you can come back and augment your shapes just by playing with your edges here. You know, for instance, you could come back in and give this a little bit more, you know, almost like it's hitting little steps, kind of like boom, boom,
Okay.
boom, like, you know, like that. I was going to say boom, chicka, boom, chicka.
Exactly.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. But I almost started doing that. And that's odd. Rob? Yeah. So it almost feels like it has little shelves, little kind of.
Okay.
So it's shape. But your colors and you know, and number one, I mean, if your colors are great, I mean, that's really great. I mean, that's a good thing to be. It's nice to have a way with color.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will tell you, this is the way it almost always works with painters. Okay, their strength is either in drawing or it's in, I should say, in shape, or it's in color. You know, the shape people tend to always want to work on their color, and the color people tend to always want to work on their shapes. And you work at it long enough, and you'll have a balance.
Good.
But hardly anybody has both of those equal. Okay. Except for me. No, I'm just joking. I had to say that. I mean, it was just sitting there. I just had to grab it. No, but honestly, no, I worked forever. My natural thing is in color. I realized that early on, and I had to always work on my shapes. So I'll tell you the same thing. You know, I told myself, shape. Keep working on those shapes. Drawing. And what I would do now is forget about color. Only work on your shape. I would really try to get that graceful shape of that water coming down. All right.
Okay. What about the water below? Is that okay?
I like the water below, yeah.
Okay.
The blue in it looks
Yeah.
great. I like how you left more blue. I wish I would have left more blue now. Let's see. Now, pull over a little bit of brown, here and there, and you get the little areas of where the water will lean up toward the sky, and it'll pick up a little blue, and then it'll start facing us, and we look into the water, so that's where it gets a little bit browner.
Okay.
I think it looks great.
Thanks.
Yeah, now you got the 1, 2, 3 of the rocks, right?
Well, I
then
have a little fourth one and fifth one to the left of that.
You got a fourth one there?
Yeah, he sort of disappeared.
So occasionally give one a little friend, and then I would not make it the same size.
Okay.
Just a little bit of something nearby. I can't get it dark enough with this. Yeah, something nearby, and a little bit of overlapping
Okay.
or something. Just think about that.
Okay.
Let's see. And it looks like we just didn't get to some shadows in here. I think I put mine in a little bit bluer. A little, I think underneath your bushes will be a little bit of shadow. This is
Okay.
mostly in shadow. I know there's a little light hitting right on the rocks right around there, and maybe on the right side of these rocks here, you probably go into shadow a little bit.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. But I wouldn't think so much about color. Colorists don't, if you feel like your natural inclination is toward color, everybody, don't think about color so much. Probably your weakness is shape. That's usually the way it works. I don't know why that is. Maybe color is a more intuitive thing, and maybe shape's a more analytical thing. I'm not sure, but I tend to think it's maybe that. All right.
Okay, thanks, Rob.
Shape. Okay. Toby. All right. Here we go. Okay. Nice colors, nice values. I think your shapes are pretty nice. I think I remember this part being in shadow a little bit. Let's see. Little shadow in there. You got that light there really nice. Maybe hit a little, I only have little things to say here. Maybe a touch of some shadow right up and under there. Right under these things. Really nice values. And you still got your little look. your kind of dappled look. I might glaze a shadow over some of this.
Mhm.
Right now it looks like all this is in shadow, and that's just fine with me. It kind of stages all this very nicely. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
I'm looking at this, when you see it again from afar, that one part of the waterfall is fairly blocky. Does that read okay to you, the other direction?
Over here?
Yeah, the kind of, I'm not sure if that's working.
I might fuzz some edge. Are you working on hard paper too?
No, I'm not.
I might come back with some dry brushing along your edges.
Okay.
Can you see how you're getting really like in here? You're going in and out and in and out. You got, right?
Uh-huh.
You're capturing the motion. Just more.
Oh.
As you throw down those dry brush strokes, think in terms of really capturing that sort of organic quality of the water just flowing down. And here it would be flowing down really fast, so it's almost straight. But here, maybe not. So as you throw, the dry brushing will give you a little bit softer edges, and you can still work with the shape of it.
Uh-huh.
So, that's about it. I think your colors are great. Your values, you got nice darks.
Great.
So you got a full range of value. Shapes, we just talked about that. And then edges. Edges is usually what I end with. Just walk around on any kind of edge. So the water has a spray kind of edge. So think of that. The dry brushing is really good for getting that spray. And, if you have to come back with some white to get that spray, I do it too. I think I'm probably going to do that on mine. Get a little bit of spray on the outside.
Uh-huh. That sounds like a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jane. Nice looking colors. I love the blue and the rocks. It's great. I might throw a little bit more shading into your water. Like everything that's in shadow. So remember that the top part of the water catches a little light and the rest goes into shadow. So I would put a little bit of blue is a little harsh, isn't it? I'll just use gray, but I mean like a blue gray, that's harsh too, isn't it? I wish I could come up with the right value. That's probably about the right value. It's the wrong color. But you see how that just takes the edge off and now you have light and shadow? So I'll try this other blue here. This one's ridiculous, but I'll try it. So not this color, but I'm just thinking the value of it. So as it faces up, it catches some light on the top, and you might catch a little bit of shadow in here. This value we have right here is what I'm talking about. I glaze that over all of all this. It picks up a little light in there. And then I think it goes into shadow around there. And most of this is in shadow. Which may mean you have to get a little bit darker in these areas. Like in there. Smack them. Okay, you know, this looks really great. Wow, you really got, look at the flow. You can feel the water flowing down, down. Yeah. Sometimes you might even catch a little reflection of one of these in there. I took a little bit of this green and yellow down into the water, mostly kind of the gold color. Occasionally I was hitting a little bit in there. Kind of fun. Greens if you like. If you want. Just to kind of get some water. I might throw a nice little shadow over here. Come on. This feels like it would be a little bit darker of a shadow to me, like in there. Maybe some in there. I remember this whole thing was in shadow. Now I wouldn't go that dark with it, but it may be some shadow in there. That's pretty dark. I mean, so it's really not a big deal on yours. I would just glaze some shadow into this, little deeper, and then if you want, you got some pretty hard edges here. So if you want to work with some of these edges, maybe dry brush some edges into there. I don't have a dry brush here, so. Okay, I think that's good. All right, thank you. Francis. Okay. Let's see, let me get my little trusty drawing tool out here. Okay, oops. We got the, let me see, a little darker, I'm thinking, a little darker in these areas. Maybe some of these, probably bluer than what I'm doing it. Just to make these, your water stand out. That's one of the reasons the water looks so white, is because it's on these really dark rocks. And the camera will read them a little bit brighter than they are, because the real bright part of your water will be in the light, where it's actually catching real light hitting it, which, you know, will be on the tops. And as it comes down here, this is all in shadow. You do have shadow down there. I might blast out with just pure white, a little bit of light up there. Let me hit this a little bit brighter. Yeah. a little pure white, maybe on the tops of some of these. Maybe even down in here. And I dry brush it. I can see your dry brushing, so I see your dry brushing in there. But we do have some pretty hard edges, so I would take your dry brush right into your water.
Okay.
Let's see. We get a nice dark here. Like right here, just dry brush it right into your water and get that fuzzy edge.
Okay.
Some darks. I'm not seeing enough dark in here. I would go for the darks. It would be at the base of some of these things. Deep dark in there. Maybe some of these rocks that are silhouetting up there would be pretty dark. Not black, but pretty dark.
Okay.
And some of these, I was seeing a pretty good dark along the edge there. That'll really kind of silhouette that waterfall. I mean, that's why it looks so bright, because it has these darks around it. And up and under your, nice little dark up and under your bushes.
Okay.
So I'll start the shadow off pretty dark, and then it gets lighter, and then it gets lighter. Because the bushes are blocking light. So it'll get lighter, much lighter down here than it is up here.
Okay.
Because they're kind of, overhanging. Okay,
Okay, thanks, Rob.
thank you. Oh, wow. Beautiful colors, Dan. Wow. I always say that with yours. It's because of the variation. Look at all this red, yellow, and blue going on, right?
Yeah.
Yellow, red, blue. It's everywhere. You get this wonderful rusty, almost looks like the iron oxide color or something. Beautiful color in there. Nice darks. I like how your strokes are going with the water. I can feel the water going around. That's the zen of it right there, right? That's what I'm looking for. And I'm wondering if, I don't really have much to say about this except, well done, sir.
Thank you.
Maybe there'd be something darker under this one. You just took a part of one of the pictures.
Yeah, the what was it? The Big Pine Creek, and just work.
Oh yeah. Right. So now I could see possibly as well coming in with some dry brush strokes, even more, especially not on the light side, but especially here, a little bit darker, just giving us a little bit more of that feeling of a rush of the water. And that's only if you want to. It's really nice the way it is. I'm feeling like you might get a dark under this. I'd have to see it. Look for some darks. This might, you got a light here, a shadow. So this might actually cast a little bit of a shadow over that.
Yeah, that looks right.
Yeah. I look for things like that. So if my light is coming from this direction, so I'm not sure where the light's coming from, but it looks, you got a light here and a shadow here, so that tells me that the light's coming from here.
The light is kind of coming from above.
Oh, just coming from straight above. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, because I was thinking maybe this would cast a shadow over your water here, but I'm not sure. But I would look for a little more shading in the water, that's all, with those directional strokes. Dry brushing.
Just a little bit more dry brushing. Huh?
I know, more dry brushing. I know, really. And if these waters are right, if these rocks are blue, they may, I'm sorry, let me do it again. If these rocks are wet, it will reflect the blue. Even if the light's coming from above, if they're in shadow at all, you'll get a little bit of blue on top. So that's a fun thing to play with too. They'll reflect the sky, so I don't know if that was in there or not. They might be just be receiving direct sunlight, so. But those are some things to think about.
Well, there were bushes, but I got rid of the bushes. I thought they were distraction.
That's what you do.
And a more vignette.
Yeah. Right, more of a vignette in there. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially like this part. You know, if I'm really planning on a vignette too, I'll actually give myself even more white page around the outside here. So I'll either make it smaller or work on a bigger piece of paper or something, but I'll, like this right here this is kind of what you're looking for when you're doing a vignette, because then when you want to frame it, you know, you really want to see these strokes. You don't want to, you know, so, okay. That's something to think about when you're vignetting. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Oh, there's Jane. Oh, was I supposed to critique the other one? Oh well. I didn't see it. There's Vicky.
Oh, when you come to me, do 2.
Oh, didn't I already do you, Jane?
Did you? My thing was off, and so it'll be on the.
Yes, I did.
Okay, well.
Sorry.
No problem.
I didn't see up there. I just did the first one, but we'll see. Let's see the second one.
Don't worry. It's hardly changed.
Oh yeah,
Anyway,
hardly changed. Yeah. Okay, we're on.
Sorry.
No problem. No problem. There's Vandy.
Hey, Rob.
All right, I see your little pen work in there.
Can't live without it.
I know. That's your fun tool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, you really got this is what I'm talking about right here. You really got the water coming down and racing down. I can feel how it kind of splashes, comes over here, boom, boom, boom. You can feel the flow of your water. That's what you get. You get that little boom and splash. Splash. And I can feel the light and the shadow. Good. And what else?
I think it loses the water at the bottom.
Maybe some more reflections on the water. You know what I would do? I would take a little bit of white, or maybe your white pen, and take some streaks going horizontally.
Okay.
And then maybe they'll come down here.
Right.
Race down, splash. And pick up a little bit more of that, and then glaze over it. I don't know if you can glaze over that pen.
Oh yeah, you can.
So either do it that way, but I would do that in white. Pick up some of that, get a little blue on it.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
And maybe I'll leave it white where it's really catching a highlight, like down here where it splashes.
Right, yeah.
And that's what I did. And then I hit a little bit of brown over it occasionally.
Okay.
The brown part of the water. So I don't want to kill all that blue though. So that's what I would do.
Good advice.
Yeah, I think everything's looking great. Your color's looking great, shape's looking great. Do you see how this kind of comes straight off?
Yeah.
I put some sort of block right there. Maybe build your rocks up a little higher.
Okay.
Over here. You know, coming in that direction.
Otherwise, it would run the other direction, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Couple of those. Now, usually you don't see the top of the waterfall.
Okay.
So you could, though. I guess you could, because we're looking up at that.
Yeah.
So, if you build the rocks up here, maybe take a little bit of your green background.
Yeah, and bring it down.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, that looks better already.
Some little rockization around there.
Okay.
Then I think I remember there being a little more shadow over here.
Oh, okay.
And you can keep that in light if you want to, but you don't have to paint exactly what it is. It's pretty though. So I just maybe a little bit more shading over here, as if this is a bush here. Maybe you get a little bit of shading in there, and possibly even something dark down there. All right. Is that all right?
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Ethel. All right.
There's a number 2.
Oh, there's a number. Ethel number 2. Thank you.
I put a lot more dark in there. There it is.
Aha, I staged it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now. So when you put all this dark around, this light right here really makes it look bright.
Yeah, I kept trying to cut it back a little, but I couldn't quite make it work.
Yeah.
It's on mineral paper too, so it was kind
Oh, that's pretty challenging. Yeah. It's hard to dry brush on that, right?
Yeah.
Well, you are getting some nice soft edges. Like whoops. Right in here, you're getting some nice soft edges.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you want to just soften a few edges, maybe come in with something along the edge.
Yeah, maybe that will work.
Now, dry brushing is not the only way to soften an edge, but it in this case, it does work. Let's see. Yeah, water down below looks, I mean, that's all it needs to be. It's fine. The rocks are fine.
Yeah, they were fine.
Yeah, that's it. I would just work with a little bit of edges in here. That's all. You got great shapes, colors, values. You hit your darks.
I sure did.
Sure did. That really gives us a lot of dimension in here, though. Right in there, those darks. Edges, shapes are good, colors are good, values are good. Work with your edges. Think about edges. Also think about that. Yeah, I might just let the very tops of this catch light.
Yeah.
So it really feels like it's falling.
Yeah, that looks.
And I'm pretty dark with that shadow, so you got this right. That looks great.
Yeah.
Oh. I really feel the speed of the water rushing down here. This is fantastic.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Diane. Okay. That's beautiful. You really got all the steps down. Wow. Really got those steps. Can you guys feel this? Look at it. It goes there and it goes down. It goes there and down. You know. And here too. Down and across, down. Yeah. Great. I don't know what to say about your work. Yeah, nice.
Thanks.
Sign it. Frame it.
I do you think on the right hand side of the waterfall where it's hitting the dark, I went in and tried to soften the edge just slightly to give it that what do you call it? That misty feeling. I think it might be too hard edge there, but I've let it dry and I've gone in and kind of like scrubbed a little bit just to give it that misty look, I guess.
Yeah. I'd scrub into that. I'd let it dry and scrub into that.
Yeah. Okay. And then right where your pointer is, that's supposed to be that rock, which I did.
This?
Yeah, you know, it's too soft looking, so I think I need to give it some angular shapes inside to make it look more like a rock rather than a brown bush.
Right, and also with the contour.
Yeah.
Maybe come back in. Unlike the waterfall, you'll want to come in with a pretty sharp edge here.
Yeah.
And really.
Yep.
Step it up, and then when you put these shadows in, I would put those shadows in a very sort of.
Oh, okay.
Blocky manner as well.
Okay.
And that'll give it that.
Craggy.
And this is how important edges are. So you got great shapes, great color, values are popping, really good. So.
Thanks.
I love how your colors vibrating all around here. I love these little accent colors in here. You've got lots of variation. Maybe if you want to, I think about a little bit more variation of color in possibly your waterfall, or maybe hitting a little accent here and there. But it's totally personal. And then, so it's at the end of the painting and we're working on edges. And that's what I'd be thinking about, is just edges. And that would be your main edge you're going to be thinking about. After you solve that, we've got rocky edges here, so sharp edges. That's a soft edge.
Okay, yeah.
You see how important edges are, though, for everybody. They're just, it's not, when I say, I always go shape, value, color, and edge in that order. But still, the edge is very important, so.
Okay. When you mentioned giving the waterfall vary the color, what were you thinking? Like a different color blue, or?
Yeah, well, like look, for instance, there's your theme color, right? Kind of a light bluish lavender, and then I might occasionally throw in a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't mean, harsh. I just mean little bits of little variations, and I just can't do it with these colors they give me.
Okay.
But little hints of reds and yellows and blues in there, possibly as well, just for variation. That's all.
Okay.
Because it's working the way it is. It would be a very minor thing to put that in there.
Okay, thank you. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Betsy. Oh, and you came in here with some line work. That's fun.
Yes, but I added white. It got so messy.
And sometimes with the line work, you'll get a pretty hard edge. So I know Not easy. But the liner, that could really change it into a whole different stylization. It could be a lot of fun. So I would definitely think about that line work. That's fun. Can you see how this water does kind of balloon out there, really, right?
Yeah.
And that's just because of the shading.
Yeah.
So, and then there's nothing wrong with that either, by the way. It's just preference. But if you wanted it to be more light on the top, I would just kind of gather it into light, like most of the light on the top and shadow as it's coming down.
Yeah.
And I would do it with a dry brush edge. You can always augment and carve back into things negatively with your edges. Okay. And I think this should use a little shadow on it in there.
Okay.
Back there. So that coming out. And you got rocks down here. So something's going to go probably into shadow if you have bushes here, or I think there's a rock there. That's going to go into shadow pretty dark. Let's see. But the line work is interesting. I might explore that a little bit more. That might be fun. What you're doing it here is very interesting. So let's see. Catch your water. I love how it kind of goes downhill right there, splashes, gets flat, downhill again, splashes. I would save the white for the splash area.
Okay.
That's too dark than what I put in there, but I'll try a little bit lighter blue. So keep it, have it white where the splash is. Now, even when you have a splash in the shadow, it won't go white. It'll be lighter than anything else. The whitest white will be where those suds pick up the main light, which will probably be in here somewhere. Unless you want the light to be hitting here, and the light could be hitting here, so that's totally up to you. But then where it falls, I might have a little bit of shadow into that then. Okay. So if the light's coming from, let's say, like this direction, then the light will hit there, go into shadow, and then it'll hit there and go into shadow. You see? So it just kind of goes.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. It goes step, down, step. I don't know why I put shadow there.
So the step is shadowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's go.
Yes.
All right. Well, you've got the dry brush thing down.
Yes. I use a good paper today, and it's easier.
Yeah, for dry brushing, it sure is.
Yeah, that's 300 pounds.
Ooh, 300 pound. Ooh.
Yeah, so it's easier.
That's yummy. Yeah, that won't even warp on you. Mine kind of warped on me a little bit. But usually the three, unless you get it really wet. Okay, nice. I could see a little bit of a shadow. Let's see. Maybe over this part.
Shadow?
Yeah, just so we have the light over here and the shadow over here. Maybe not that dark though. But I don't have a lighter color to use.
The bluish?
As they're going into shadow, some of those, and into shadow. Then I could see these greens, maybe possibly a little darker.
So overall, a little darker.
Yeah, a little darker on the shadow side. So most of the things over on this side and over in here are in shadow. And then most of the things, you get little pops of highlight. Let's see. You get your, whoops, you get your highlight mostly in there. And here on your rocks. And maybe down here, possibly. That's where I look for it. It's going to be on the tops of things. So I could see possibly a little more shading in here, possibly too.
Okay.
And underneath.
Yeah.
So these are just quick glazes. Yeah. And then remember those little areas in between your waterfall will get pretty dark. So like this, like what you have there, that dark you have in there, I do more of that. I don't have anything really dark. I'm just going to use black. Sorry. It's a boring color, but it gets me the value I want.
So it's a contrast.
Yeah.
I think
more contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we glazed it down, now you need even more contrast. So
I kind of wanted to make it look like white, very whitish overall.
Yeah. Well, keep as much as that as you want.
Yeah.
These are just suggestions, and I mean, you get the feeling of it. You really get the feeling of it. So
I made a splashes though with using your techniques of toothbrush.
Yeah.
Splashing, yes.
I see all this splashing everywhere. Yeah. You use a toothbrush. Oh my God.
Yes.
How did you get these big chunks in there, like this one right here?
I don't know. It just happened. Maybe.
Or maybe they're just. Or are you working flat? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I'm working flat. Yes.
So they're just big bubbly drips. I think maybe.
Yes. Cool.
They're so big that they have their shadow of their own.
So just left it there.
Yeah. Oh, the shadow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you get the idea of the dry brushing and the edges, and all I'm trying to do is bring things together a little bit with some glazing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Nice. Alice. All right, Alice. Okay, let's see. Yeah, and you really got the motion of the water.
Thank you.
You got these, yeah, you got this. You kind of came in with all these directional strokes. So I like that. It really gives us a feeling of like we're going to here, and then we're hitting, and we're going down to there. Cool. Now I might put a harmonizing glaze of shadow over all this. This is maybe a little on the dark side, but.
Okay.
So you really get that feeling of light and shadow. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And what'll look great is that you've already done a lot of your directional strokes. So just glaze right over them a little bit darker, because you have this light right here, as light as these are up here. And so it makes, it's hard to tell where your light's coming from. That's all.
Right, right.
So you see this value you have right here?
Yeah.
That's the glaze color I would put over all, and I would just put it over everything.
Okay.
One big brush, one big glaze over all that. Wherever you want light to hit, just miss that part. But yeah, you got a really nice light right here. I think there might be a really nice light hitting there and there. So yeah, a big old glaze over that. And nice green color here. I might work a little more brown into your water there. Let's see.
Okay.
I don't know. Here and there. Now this is interesting. This little reflection you have here. Wow, it looks like it's reflecting this, huh?
Okay. Not really. I don't know.
Kind of looks like it's reflecting something like that. I'll do that too. I'll bring things that are up here and bring them down into my water. It's a little easier to do in oils.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
Most everything's easier in oils. That's why I wonder why they don't make watercolors more expensive. Yeah, I put a nice, maybe a little bit more glaze. Is this where the light hits that rock right there?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'd avoid that area and then just
Okay.
a little bit of glazing there. I think you're good. If you want to make these feel a little further away, you could take a little bit of white. I mean, I like them though, so there's nothing wrong with them. But if you want them to feel a little further away, you could put a little haze on there, right? A little touch of white in there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. And one thing I was doing was keeping it light on the tops, and then a little bit of shadow as it faces us. So let me try this a little bit.
You mean the rocks?
The water.
Oh, the water, okay. Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
So it gets a little bit of a splash of light on the top, and then it goes down. I'm a little dark with this. So this value you have right here,
yeah.
Some of these like half-tone shadow values are very, very light. I would put those around as it falls. As the water falls down, I would hit a little bit of shadow on that.
Okay.
Here, I'm not sure if it would do that. Yeah, I think there was a little bit of light hitting the top of this rock. I think we're good. I threw shadow over mine right here. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Up to you.
It gives it more of a three-dimensional look than flat.
Yeah.
It gives, yeah, depth from the, yeah.
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 I like it. Okay, nice color. Nice looking color. I love all this stuff. Nice accents of color. Great.
Thank you.
It's just, yeah, it's more of a value thing. Yep. Just shading, really. Okay. And Robin, wait, I'm sorry, Suzanne. Wow, you really got the water. Let's see. Yeah, that's what I mean. So you're catching light on the top and then it falls and then it catches a little bit light as it splashes and it falls. Yeah. You really got this. Wow, really motion of the water. Beautiful. Love it. Lots of contrast. How did you like this as far as the dry brushing?
Dry brushing I like.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. And the rocks, you got the light and the shadow on the rocks doing the same thing. It feels like reflected light. This feels like it's in shadow. And then you pick up a little light here. That feels good. And you go back into shadow. I think that all feels really nice. Let's see. Background looks good. It's a little repetitive, you know, a little 1, 2, 3, 4. So
okay.
Occasionally, like you did here, maybe once in a while, hit in a little, very light diagonal. We'll kind of, it'll break that up.
Okay.
Very light diagonal here and there. We'll break that up. Why do I think original marsh when I'm looking? Did I say that to you last time?
No,
Reginald Marsh, yeah. And the high contrast and the whimsy. Yeah, his name is, I don't know how to spell, Reginald Marsh, M-A-R-S-H, I think.
Okay.
Great American, early century 1920s painter. You get your little splashes down here. Very nice. Very nice. It's so stylized too.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about. Yeah, awesome.
Well, thank you.
Sign it, frame it. I gotta say, your water is great though. Your water is just outstanding. That's a really good water.
Thanks.
Yeah. Maybe this edge here,
Uh-huh.
as it meets the dark there, maybe like kind of treat it like you are right here.
Okay.
Fuzzy edge.
Okay. A
A little
okay.
more fuzzy, yeah. It's a little stark. That's all.
Yeah.
And I had to struggle to find that. Now, sometimes when I see little alignments, like, let me do this. So we have this. Wish I could make that bigger. So it goes like that.
Yeah.
Kind of a straight line, like maybe there too.
Right.
Do whatever you can to break that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
All you need to do is just push in a little bit of shadow here and there. I don't know if you can break in, and you can't really break out any light over that, but maybe pull in a little bit of a little dark, just to break that edge up.
Okay. Yeah.
Up
Yeah,
there.
that'd be better.
Yeah, little things like that.
Yeah, that's
Really.
good.
No, they have. Oh gosh, they happen to everybody. I don't care who. And the best painters, it happens to them, and they just don't tell you. Oh, it never happens to me. No, it happens to them too. Those little alignments. That's why you get back away from it, or you leave it for a while, and suddenly those will really show up.
Okay. Thank you.
And we're at
This, everything they want in my deck, all
Robin.
these things, it's just got a thin layer of the gut. So
okay.
you see, and then it's just.
Maybe mute yourself. Hello. Okay.
It's on the-
Now we do have some pretty hard edges here. By the way, nice color, nice arrangement. Your composition is great. I like how you tweaked it and did it your own way here. The foreground is really cool.
I knew you'd find something good to say, Rob.
Yeah, no, edges. It's edges. You got a lot of hard edges. And you see what you're doing with the edges, right? Let me see. Well, you are dry brushing in here. Let's see.
I did a lot of dry brushing at the beginning, and then I just overworked it. I just there was a lot of dry brushing, and then I just put way too many glazes. I kept going back in over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And so I ended up with soup.
Soup. Let's see here. This one. So if we could just soften some of these edges. That's a little hard too. I have a hard time getting the right.
Just what?
You know, just remember, the other way to do that is you could just glaze an edge too, like that, to get that, to soften it as it goes into shadow. But I recommend doing the dry brush edge, and you don't have to come in with black or anything. You can come in with a lighter value and dry brush along the edges, just so it isn't so stark. Like this is, I wouldn't do it on here. This looks great. But where it meets a really dark edge, you have a really hard outline like right in here.
Yeah, I see totally what you're doing.
And then, see, as it falls, you might want to go into shadow. Keep it lighter on the top. And then, little fuzzier on the edges there. And you might pick up a little light here, and then, who knows? A little cast shadow in there. So, colors are fine, values are fine. It's an edge, it's mostly edges. It's edges. I want you to just think edges now, not color. Value too. Mostly edge though.
If I started over.
I wouldn't start over. If you want to though,
What would you say the major thing I should focus on is?
Yeah, edges.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what I really like? You see all of this green here? Look at the way she summed it all up into one big area. It holds together as a unit without falling into pieces and parts. That's a way to do it. Okay. So even in here too, I might, just as it falls down into shadow, a little bit of, it falls down and then it splashes and gets white again.
Yeah.
So I could in it too. Okay, so I want you to think edges.
Okay.
Mostly. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Monica, okay. Dry brushing. All right.
I think it looks more like the abominable snowman.
Well, look. I mean, if you're gonna go that way, then give them.
You have to be nice. It's my birthday today.
Is it? Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Wow.
Yeah, now he's really starting to come together like the yummy.
Yeah.
Sasquatch something.
Okay, so then.
Sorry.
So what it looks like is you need more darks in the fur.
Thank you.
All right, let's see right in here.
Thanks.
Right here. Some dark areas, some darker areas in here. So you got the dry brushing down, no problem. There's some value, mostly some darker values around things.
Okay.
And put them in with the dry brush. I think these up here need to be darker. All of these little in between units where the rock is, the whole rock needs to be darker. Yeah, this light right here. I mean, are these the bushes? This back here is the trees, right?
Yeah.
So is this the top of your bushes right here?
Yeah, I was trying to give it too much highlight, I think.
So then if you came into it with a little bit of like light and shadow, and then all of that will cast a shadow over all this, and there's your little light right there. And then I would stage it a little bit darker at the top here. I closed mine in a little bit so we wouldn't flow out of the page. And I think your background's fine. Down here. If you want to come in with a little white on the tops of some of these, you could.
Okay.
Not the whole thing, but maybe right up here. Maybe even brighter. most of the issue is with the waterfall. It's not easy, I know.
It's horrible. I thought I would learn to be an instant Maxfield Parish, but somehow it didn't work out.
It's edges. It's just think edges. It's an edge thing. Here, let me see.
You need magic.
There you go. Flat on the top because it goes flat and then it goes down and then flat and then down.
Can you get that edge you just put in? Can I do that with a glaze? With that?
This one?
The vertical one you just did a second ago.
Oh. Yeah. I wouldn't go that dark or anything. I think your values are actually pretty darn good in here. So I want you to think about the shape of it, how it goes, it steps down, it goes around and down.
No shoulders.
Around. Huh?
It's like they have shoulders and hips.
Yeah, I know. If we're all finding little images of people in here, aren't we? And this looks like a person in a cocoon or something. I don't know. Whatever. So I'd make your dark to your rock. All the rock in here needs to go darker. It looks like.
Okay.
That will help so much. And then I think I want you to pay attention to edges. You might want to even do a little drawing off to the side, or maybe on another piece of paper. Just a quick kind of a shape drawing. And I wouldn't even put many like dark values in it or anything. I would just for the shape of it. So I don't know if you can see my page or not, but I might draw something like this. Just for shapes. Do like just a quick little analysis, really, of what is the waterfall doing. And by doing this, you're not worried about color. You're not having to deal with watercolor or anything like that. You're just thinking about the shape.
Okay.
Things like that. Probably should have put that one in. But anyway, yeah, that can really help. I just call them little analysis. I might even make little notes of how it falls and how it kind of steps down, how they just kind of move across and then they just kind of step down and then splash. I think about all those things. I make little notes off to the side. They really help. Okay, nice work. I really like the splashes and stuff you got in here. You got a lot of nice values. And you always work with these muted colors, which is interesting. Have you ever heard this artist named Vuillard?
No.
I'll write it down here. I think it's, I'm probably wrong on this. Is it I-R-D? Vuillard. I'm probably wrong on that. Is it Vuillard? Vuillard? I don't know. Yeah, I think that might be it. Leave out the I. Great for muted colors. If you love muted colors, you'll love.
You like it?
You'll love it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll look them up. What was that? Somebody.
That's Hector talking. Hector, mute yourself.
Oh.
All right.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. I'm sorry.
Happy birthday, Monica.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm old. It's official.
Official.
Yes.
All right, Michelle.
Yeah. Put ice.
All right.
Put ice. And
Well, I feel those steps. Let's see. You got those steps in there. That's all you need right there. That subtle value you have there, really nice. Wow, you really got into the white on this one.
I can never leave enough white, and so I'm always going back in with wash because I just don't ever leave enough. So, like, okay, well, whatever. Here's what it is.
Yeah, it's a great way to come back and find stuff. This is the look. Here, let me.
I want to crop this one. Crop all that bottom stuff out.
Yeah. So you see, everybody, how you can get that. You can get that look right here. See, look at that look right there. That's when you drag white over it. So, if you've taken your painting as far as you can in just transparent watercolor, then come back over it like this. Oh my gosh, it'll look great. It will. You might want to give it a try. That's the look right there. So she gave you a demo right there. Let's see. I couldn't have done it any better, that's for sure. That's nice.
Thanks.
And I love your stylization. Coming back here with this lost and found line that this really feels like, now, this feels like this school of painters that were in Canada. You've probably heard of them, right?
They're kind of like the Society of Six, but something,
Yeah.
but not them. Yeah.
What is it, Tom Thompson? Is that it?
What's that?
Is the guy's name Tom Thompson?
Yeah, you've mentioned that before, and that's probably why I know it.
Thompson, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, the Society of Six. This has that feeling.
And it's called the Group of Seven.
Group of Seven, huh? Yeah. Okay. Society of Six, Group of Seven, Network of Eight. Okay. Group of Seven. Okay, that's a wonderful nature painters. Those are some true nature painters right there. It was a wonderful kind of part of the arts and crafts movement. Really, really great painters. Your work fits right into that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, really organic. And that's what they were really into, is the organic. They were trying to get away from the inorganic. Okay. So really nice color. I love how you came back and glazed over your whites.
Well, that's the advantage of listening to you critique other people. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let me do
Yeah.
that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed you got a lot of people are coming in here at the end. Okay. Water feels highly reflective. Like it could be reflecting a cloudy sky or something. Wow. Nothing wrong with that.
You think I should cut off that bottom part? I mean, would you crop that out? I know you like that kind of organic watercolor. Yeah.
I like this area.
Okay.
I feel like this is reflecting the clouds right here. I kind of like it. So, yeah. Totally up to you. I might put a little glaze over this.
Darken it or lighten it? Darken it?
A little bluer, yeah. Maybe a little bit of just a little bit blue gray somewhere in there. I'm getting this feeling too, like your water is, like you talked about that mist. I mean, it'll do that.
It does. It is.
You're getting that mist.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's got a really, I don't know what to say about your piece. It's nice. It's got a really abstract quality to it.
I actually like my sketch almost better than my.
Oh yeah.
Didn't see it, but I don't know. Anyway. All right.
See, Michelle, is this watercolor or gouache?
And white gouache. So I always start off with watercolor and then I end up painting with gouache.
Oh, okay.
So you see, Michelle, I just took a little white over your background. And let's see.
Oh, and push that back. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe, you know, that's a thought.
Yeah. Maybe you want a little blue in there, yeah? Or not?
If I had, I could try. I mean.
Oh, maybe not.
I think you're fine. You know, that the white alone is a little bit blue. Titanium is it's a bluish white. But I think something like that might help. See, here's what that, watch, I'll take it out, watch. See how it comes forward?
Yeah.
So, just so you know. Okay, thank you. That's a beautiful piece. Really, really organic. You might want to take a look at that Tom Thompson. Oh, you know who else? Have you ever heard of this artist? This is for everyone. This artist named, he painted these beautiful waterfalls in Connecticut. Don't tell me I can't think of his name. Twalkman. It's spelled like Twatch. Man, they're so sensitively painted. I think his first name is Henry or Henri or something. Yeah, that's for everybody. Take a look. I should have showed you all. I mean, all these names are coming to my head right now. So, and I'm not even a big name guy. Okay. Let's see. Hector. I'm sorry, Hector. Wow, that's strong, Hector. All right. It's a strong piece. Nice contrast. The water looks like water, looks waterish. It's got an abstract feeling. You can still see the strokes, but it still feels waterish. Somehow, I know you use a lot of black, so that's fine, but.
I didn't use black.
What was that?
I didn't use black. There is no black in there.
Hmm. Well, if your color gets kind of mixed.
It's ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson.
Yeah. Well, that'll give you a good dark. Yeah. But if you wanted to shoot a little bit of color back into it, maybe take just more of the ultramarine blue pure and more of the alizarin crimson pure.
Well, you know what? It's not showing, but it's there in the painting.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah, the photograph just made it all dark, but I have those other tones in there because I hate flat black.
Yeah, that's just the camera reading it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. Well, nice piece. It's flowing. You got nice organic strokes. Very calligraphic. Nice sense of light and shadow. If you wanted to get this feeling of even more shadow, I could see, because you got all this down here, right? I could see maybe pulling a little bit over here. Possibly.
And you know, Rob, I get kind of mixed up whether I want to go representational, or, and I tend to always in my head feel more emotional with it.
Yeah.
That I'm just going with letting my strokes fill and with color.
Gut instincts, yeah.
Because I think the other way, it just frustrates you.
Yeah.
And I think like today, many of us painted very abstractly, and I think those were the more successful ones. Because there was
getting a lot of style in there today, yeah.
A lot of style. Which was cool, I thought.
Yeah. You know what's interesting here too is that you've got these really dark lines, and then you've got these light lines, and they do feel really drippy and they feel waterish. I mean,
well, when I'm looking at them, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I know it's weird, but that's, I mean, I've always felt just push yourself and feel that. Push it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to push it and feel it. Feel the water. Feel the dripping.
You know, it's interesting too. If you look at this stroke here, this white you have in the background. Let's see if I can get it here. This white right here is actually pretty dark, and then you have this one right here that's really light. So it feels like this is in shadow and this is in light. I mean, you've got that duality.
I was reading about Sargent, and he never used a bright light, a very white light.
Yeah, he'd always take a little bit of something over the light.
They looked white because of the juxtaposition of all the colors around it, but they were never real white. So I'm interested.
Did you put a little bit of warmth in there?
I toned down the white. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he would do. Take the edge off the white. He gets his really sunlit.
Because he uses a lot of white.
Yeah.
And yet it's so effortless and just.
It was a real feeling of organic quality here. Wow. Soutine, I always say Soutine when I see your work.
That was another one I loved too.
Yeah. Soutine.
Peter Lieshko told me a long time ago. He says, "Do you know who Chaim Soutine is?" And I go, "No." He said, "You should look at him."
Yeah.
And then he had a retrospective at LACMA.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's really organic. Okay, nice work. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
All right. George, wow, a continuation on your theme.
Yes. The dog walker is visiting various waterfalls.
And you're linking it together. This is what you did last time.
Yeah.
With your almost bead-like Golgi bodies or whatever they are.
Yeah, just designs really, and the red string.
This is pretty cool. It's got an interesting quality to it.
Naive and whimsical, huh?
Why not? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'd say if you wanted the feeling of water more on this, I'd make the background darker.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean
the rocks.
Yeah, just if you like, you got these dark rocks on there, I might come back with some, just to silhouette your waterfall a little bit more.
All right.
I might do something like in there. Don't paint over the red though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's easy to do.
That's one idea. I think I'm just looking for maybe a little more contrast.
Okay.
Yeah. just so I could figure out the water in this. And I could see the shape of it. Maybe what you need to do is come back over with some white.
You know, I was using a titanium white watercolor.
Yeah.
I missed how you got your waterfall so white because I was working on this.
Well, you know, I just used the white of the paper. I didn't get any chance to put any white on there.
Okay, but at one time you had light ultramarine blue, I thought.
Yeah, I put that over there.
Yeah, and then you rubbed it out?
No, I put that, I just left that on there. That's what's there.
Oh, it dried lighter, okay.
Yeah, I'll probably play with a little water on that. A little bit of opaque glaze on that.
Okay, what color?
I'll just work with the white.
Okay, like a white wash?
Yeah, because you'll be able to see through it so you can see into it. And get which is the same thing I would probably suggest here on yours.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of white in there, here and there.
Yeah.
And you can see through it. And then if it needs to be stronger, then put it on stronger.
Yeah, right now they just look like designs, huh? Or
yeah.
You don't know what they are.
It's a little contrast. I mean, I would just put a little more contrast on it. That's all. That's all I'm suggesting.
All right.
Well, I love this color in your water, by the way. Aqua.
Yes.
And don't stop doing your folky thing with your lacing around and playing with your little. Do that. Do more of that. I like that.
Thank you.
It has a.
You probably shouldn't be encouraging me.
I like it.
Okay.
Maybe that becomes your whole thing. I don't know, but
yeah.
I like the way it pulls you around. It looks like you're telling a story in a way, taking us on a trip. Isn't that what the whole thing's about? I think that's what.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And okay, Henry. All right, Henry. Beautiful. Wow.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for taking my suggestion for the lesson.
Yeah. Yeah, you paint a mean waterfall, my friend. I couldn't paint it better. That's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will look at this. Let me see. So you see how he gets this line and he just steps it down, and then he changes the area and steps it down. Really beautiful design. Wow.
Thanks.
This is great feeling. Now, you know, you don't have as much shadow as in the piece, but I guess it just doesn't need it. That's great.
Yeah, I hesitated to add all the shadows. I just like the white paper to show more.
Yeah. Look at this drip, everybody. Look at that. Just one. Just put it down as a drip and just left it. Just because they needed a little bit of dark in there. That's great. Dry brushing's great. Glazing, wet into wet. Look at the background. Wet into wet. That would have been that's a very good way to solve that background.
Mm.
Now I'm wondering if it was lighter, would it recede a little bit more? Not that it really has to, but I mean, that's one thing. Let's see. Something to think about. I don't think it really needs it. No.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, because it kind of stages these lights here a little bit.
Yeah, I try to contrast with the white. That's why.
Yeah. And you got a lot of variation in your color. Wow. Reds, yellows, blues. Reds, blues. See them? The red, blue.
Yeah, I just used the two brush, one brown, one purple, and blue, and blend it on the paper.
Just blend it right on the paper. That's a great way to do it. Yeah. Well, that's gorgeous. I wouldn't change a thing.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, if you want, you know, I as just a small maybe suggestion, and that's totally up to you. But if you wanted to get this feeling, maybe some very light shadows as your water falls in some areas. That's about all I can think of. I mean,
okay, so
it's working right now, so why change it? I don't know.
Okay, I think about that. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Very nice work.
Thanks.
Okay, Shelley, wow, really got the light and shadow there. Is this small?
Sorry. No, it's about 7.
Wow.
7 by 11 or something.
Oh, okay. Well, really nice composition. I mean, really nice composition. That frame's very nice. I don't have hardly any, I can't think of anything bad to say about your piece, sorry. Another one. I can think of a lot of good things though. You know, I guess you got a lot of sharp edges there and it kind of works, so.
Well, it's all palette knife.
Yeah. Yeah, the palette knife on watercolor paper, really great.
On watercolor paper.
Yeah. And I like how you brought this this angle right here really high up. Yeah, really nice and high. That works. You grade the background a little bit more. That goes more passive. See how she punches this yellow right here, and that comes forward. These values right here are just fantastic.
So, excuse me, is this an oil painting or a watercolor?
It's oil.
It's oil.
Okay.
Oil on watercolor paper, yeah. Now, yeah, one great color too. You know, one thing I like to do in my darks is hit some variation, some blues, some reds. That might be fun.
Great.
Some darks. You know, darker than that, but so the value is great. And I always put value before I put color. So sometimes what I'll do is I actually work out my values the way I want them. And then I'll come back and punch a little color in there. And the palette knife is the best tool to do it with because it gives you those great dry brush edges, those great kind of fuzzy edges. And it looks like it's just meant to be there. It doesn't look like plopped in there, you know, it looks. So if you knifed it in like this, just a couple more colors into your darks, especially up in here and things like that.
Great idea.
I know this is a really nice, especially your composition. I mean, if you got everything wrong and you still had a strong composition, the painting works.
Yeah.
You know, but if you get everything right and you get a weak composition, it leaves you flat. But this is a really strong composition. Wow. Yeah, you don't have any problems in that area. Woof. You don't have any problems in a whole lot of areas.
Well, thank you, Rob.
Yeah, that's about all I would say. That's about it.
That sounds like some good suggestions and
yeah,
easy to go back into in oil anyway. So
yeah,
thank you.
Punch a couple of darks. Yeah. Okay, George. Oh, that's George. Okay, Daryl. Oh wait, George, is George in this class? Oh, George, yeah, George is in this class. The other George. Okay, Daryl. I think I might punch a few darks too, a little bit darker. It's harder to do in watercolor. Sometimes when I get areas like this that are a little jumpy in value, I'll put that harmonizing glaze over it. Let's try it here. Kind of a harmonizing glaze over the whole thing. I know there was a light area in there, so I would avoid out that light area, but I might just gather it all up like that. Then we have a light here. I think it would go into shadow right around here maybe. And you might have some little jagged shapes in there. I could see this going into shadow more. You know, this feels really flat. I mean, they all seem to be going down a straight plane here. So in that sense, I would only hit my highlights on the tops like you did there, yeah. And just really, no highlights down here. So you get that, and I would go lighter than my value. You've got this interesting slope to this thing though. It just goes, and then this looks like it's at a kind of an angle here. Maybe it comes uphill here and you get a little splash there and then it comes back down into shadow there. Maybe that side goes down into shadow and this comes up and picks up a little bit of light there. Possibly. So sometimes the values in a certain area, like for instance, all of this sort of wall, like we got a wall of watercolor here. Sometimes the values will all, they'll fall apart. And so what I'll do is put this harmonizing glaze over them to bring them together. That's about it. Other than that, I mean, neat composition. I like the way you interpreted everything. Wow. I love these slopes you put in here, really fast moving slopes. Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. And let me get back to, oh, there's Marie. Okay. Clear this. George had to leave class. Okay, I don't see his piece there. Okay. All right. Marie, okay, nice. All right, so the water feels like it's moving around a big round rock, and that could be. Like right here, it feels a lot more flat, but if you want to give it that kind of stair-stepping look, I might not give it as much light on the top. And here's another thing. Because you're making up a little bit more light, and I get that. That's working. And by the way, your dry brushing technique is awesome.
Well,
Totally
I've been
awesome.
working on it.
Totally awesome.
Thanks.
So this wall, right, this would cast a little bit of a shadow over these, maybe to there.
Okay.
So that would be kind of fun if you wanted to shoot a little shadow across there.
Sounds good.
Maybe you want to keep that in light though. So just possibly, it's up to you. And yeah, this feels really round. So if you wanted to flatten it out, you could do something like that.
Okay.
It doesn't bug me the way it is though. I mean, it could be going around a big round rock, which totally happens. So it works. Your rock right here looks so shiny. How did you do that?
You know what? I kind of took out some paint and then I dry brushed over it.
Yeah. It almost looks like a shiny shell. I mean, rocks, that looks like a wet rock to me.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's really. You got this shimmer right across here.
That was kind of at the last minute.
Cool. Like all this. Like all this water down here. Change of direction. I really like. Let's see. You got this flow of the water this way, and then you got the flow of the water this way. Nice. if you wanted to bring back a couple of areas, don't be adverse to taking a little bit of white in here once in a while and getting occasionally if you like. You know, you have these little white areas like in here. And in here, they're really reflective. I really feel the reflection in that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, leave that, please.
Okay.
Nice. I mean, really small things, you know, maybe a little more shadow under there.
Okay.
Maybe a touch of dark in that.
Got it.
If you wanted to, again, you know, we've talked about this in other people's things, but if you wanted to, just to give yourself a little more foreground, middle ground, background kind of thing, you could lighten that up.
Oh, okay.
With a touch of white. Let's see. Okay, that's about it. Do you have any questions?
No, I just I thought it was fun with all the dry brush. I just it's a good technique.
Yeah, it's a great exercise in dry brush, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was almost like we were using the waterfall as an excuse to practice dry brush.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Is that everybody? Did I miss anybody? Looks like George, maybe he'll email me later. George DeBouche, I think is his last name. Okay. All right, everyone. Great day. We'll see a lot of you on Friday. Yes.
Rob, George DeBosch wanted to know if you still gave critiques. He didn't know whether to leave or send in the painting.
Yeah, just send it in to me. If he sends it to me, I'll critique it by email. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what he asked. Okay.
I'll answer his email. I didn't see an email. No, you should have asked me on there. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you
I'll
on
see a lot of you on Friday. We'll do that. We'll do those portraits. All right.
See you on Friday.
Have a blast. Okay. See you then.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Nice to see everybody.